Hi, this is Chaplain Tyler, and you're watching this video on You Got This with Tyler. Today I'm going to be talking about complex color-coded personalities. Complex color-coded personalities. Now, what makes a personality complex? Well, it's a little difficult to describe, but I need to go back and give you a quick summary according to the True Colors Values Identification System of what most people's personality traits and makeup is. So, as a review, True Colors state that there are two major types of preferences. One preference is on how a person likes to structure their life. If they like to be very structured in their life and a lot of order and things like that, then they're considered to be gold. If they like a little bit more freedom, then they're considered to be orange. On the other hand, if somebody processes information by thinking and thought and logic, then they're considered green. And if a person prefers processing information through their heart, by feeling, it has to feel right, then they're considered to be blue. So blue and green are considered opposites, and gold and orange are considered opposites as well. So normally, the vast majority of the population, most of us as human beings, we're going to be strong in one of gold or orange, and we're going to be strong as well in one of green or blue. That's just how we work. Most people are going to be leading with how they prefer to structure their life. That'll be their primary color. And secondary colors are going to be how they process information. Again, that's normal. What makes a complex personality is somebody whose values and beliefs and personality structures do not fit that particular mold. And what that means is complex personalities can have multiple value systems operating at the same time, especially within the same poles. So let's say somebody, their two strongest colors are gold and orange. What do you do with that? So they prefer, let's say in that order, gold and orange. So that means that they are very concerned with the structure of their lifestyle. They need a lot of order and structure, but at the same time, they also need the freedom and flexibility within that order. It makes it much more difficult to understand how to relate to them and difficult for them to be able to express who they are and understand themselves. Likewise, let's say somebody is blue-green in that order, but let's say they're an introvert. Well, now there's somebody that they express green, thinking and processing information by their minds. They show that to the world, but in private, their particular personality strength is in feeling. So they process information in two different ways. It has to feel right, and it has to make sense logically. Now, that kind of a person would probably take quite a long time to make decisions. They can't just go to logic and say, well, that makes sense, let's do it. They also can't just go to feelings and say, well, this feels right, let's do it. It has to be both. So somebody who's going to be very strong in blue and green as their primary colors, as their first two colors, they're going to take a long time to try to figure out what they really think and what they're really feeling. Then let's add another complexity. What if a person is strong in three colors? So let's say a person is leads with gold, and yet their green and blue are just as strong. What do we do with that? So it depends if they're extroverted or introverted, of course. Remember that a person who's extroverted will show their primary color to the world, and a person who's introverted will show their secondary color in the world. But when you have a color that's being led by how we structure life as an introvert, they're going to be showing the world blue and green, And at home, they're going to be showing somebody the orange or the gold side. It becomes really tough. And it will take a lot longer for somebody who has these kind of complex value systems to understand themselves. It's not straightforward. They may struggle with who they are and what they believe and why. They're going to have a hard time trying to figure out what really matters to them. And their goals and their dreams of what they want can often be conflicted. Now, there's nothing wrong with a complex personality. There are many different people who have these kind of personalities, and they're wonderful because they bring a depth that it's hard to put into words how it affects people. But there is so much that they bring. I personally think that people with these kind of complex personalities have a much easier time empathizing with others because they can see different value systems because they experience it themselves. I often wonder how people with these kind of personalities think and how they feel and how they are. I've had people, as I've facilitated True Colors, I've had people that have said to those with these kind of complex personalities, do you feel like you're fighting yourself all the time? Do you feel like you're a split personality? You have multiple personalities? Because normally these value systems, orange and gold or blue and green, they really are opposites. And to have both systems operating at the same time is really tough. But the person with the complex personality, they don't know any different. And it makes sense to them sometimes. And so what we need to do with somebody with a complex personality is that we really need to take more time to figure out who they are and what matters to them. They may not know themselves. And for those of us who can, to listen and to figure this out with them and to walk with them is really important. I believe that these complex personalities probably develop just a little bit slower emotionally and spiritually, simply because it takes them longer to figure out who they are and what matters to them. I believe that somebody who is gold orange or orange gold is very action driven and will probably require things to occur quickly for them. And yet there'll be a tension because the orange in them says, let's go, let's risk, let's make it happen. The gold in them will say, wait a second, I don't want to. This is too scary. Not going to do it. So there's a lot to be learned for how these complex personalities work together. And although there are not very many relatively around us in our society, they are there. They do struggle. They do try to figure out what works for them and why. And helping them to understand who they are and just simply accepting them. They're not weird. They're not bizarre. That's one thing I found in the courses that I have facilitated, is that some people look at these complex personalities and say, you're just weird, man. No, they're not. They're just built a little differently. And that's not a bad thing. So to all you complex personalities out there, I see you. I hear you. I believe in you. You have an immense place in this world, one that cannot be replaced. And you bring some complexity and spice to life that no one else can. So remember as you go this day, be blessed. And remember, you got this. This is Chaplain Tyler. You've been watching this video on You Got This with Tyler, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.